stop to lie, won't stop to lie, can't stop to lie, won't stop to lie, can't stop to lie, won't stop to lie, ain't no Chico, just be smooth.
Welcome to another episode of TechDontSleep Podcast. It's your boy Bill McCluskey in the building once again. And in the hot seat, we got Kermit Lowry with Lifelong Merchant Services. Welcome, man. Appreciate you coming out, brother.
Thanks for having me.
You were just telling me you're out in the mountains with no cell service.
Zero. Yeah, I hadn't done that in a while.
Yeah, that sounds fun, man. It's always good to get away, and especially on the weekend, and clear your mind.
Exactly.
With some good people.
Luckily, had someone covering me, so any of my calls just got forwarded to them, and I was good to go.
Well, I really want to jump in, man, because we haven't had anybody on the podcast that does what your company does, right, for small businesses. And as always, we like to, have a value add for our listeners who are primarily entrepreneurs or business owners, business professionals, and the services that you offer. I mean, it's kind of the wild, wild west from my perspective, right?
Definitely.
And there's not a lot of regulation in terms of merchant processing and credit card processing, the fees and transaction fees. So I want to dive into that. And so you can give some insight on what business owners should be looking for, how they can really capitalize and take advantage or really create what I call a profit center or make money off of this stuff.
For sure.
But before I get into that, I want to talk about your story, man, because you started this company, right?
Yep. So I started Lifelong about a year and a half ago.
Yep.
In January of 2021. I, before then, had worked in the restaurant point of sale technology space for about 5 years. We had integrated credit card processing, so I took a little bit of interest through it. Kind of like you said, saw how Wild West it was, the lack of transparency, how support could vary from a company to company basis, and just all the ins and outs of credit card processing. So that kind of piqued my interest. And then, like I said, I dove in January of 2021.
Wow. So it's been about, a year and a half?
A year and a half. Yep, yeah, exactly.
So what made you decide because from a business or entrepreneur perspective, what made you decide, hey, I'm working with this company, I see some opportunity, let me start a business? Like what's going through your head?
Yeah, certainly. So I, like I said, I know my current company for about 5 years. I was not necessarily looking for something new, but I was looking for an additional stream of income.
Yeah.
When I started doing it. And I knew how expensive credit card processing was to business owners. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, well, there's got to be money in it. So I, like I said, did some research. I actually found a mentor, a lady who we previously had kind of shared leads. Mm-hmm. We're a referral partner. She took me under her wing a little bit, taught me for, 6 months or so, mm-hmm. Before I actually started the company. And then, I, like I said, took that plunge about 6 months later. And haven't looked back. So I started out doing it part-time. It was a side hustle for me.
Yeah.
And then as my company grew, it very quickly became my full-time job.
So you were doing this kind of part-time while you had your job?
Exactly. So
that's cool. Love it.
So I just, like I said, learned about it. There was parallels with my current company because mm-hmm. I was working with restaurants. Mm-hmm. I was already working in POS. And so I did it on the side. Once I built up a large enough customer base where mm-hmm. this could be my full-time income, I started that. And then I started doing that. And then now we actually have, a few techs, a few other agents that mm-hmm. work with us, account executives, and some full-time employees as well.
I mean, that's key, though. It's a lesson for folks who want to go out there and start their own business. Because sometimes we have an idea, like even me, man, I had a job. I worked at Comcast. I saw a gap or an opportunity there, but I was already in the industry, number one, like you. Mm-hmm. And then I started my company when I still was working at Comcast,
Yeah.
Now they happened to find out, I was like, okay, I quit, right? But at the same time, I was able to build up some revenue and get some traction before I left my full-time job. So I think it's a key takeaway for a lot of folks. You don't just have to straight jump. Once you get the idea or the passion or see the opportunity, you can really build a runway for yourself. So when you had this mentor and you about 6 months in, you go full time, how are you gaining customers? How are you? Is it be through these referral partners or kind of relationships?
We do a lot of different ways, but certainly the main way is through referral partners and relationships. I moved to Nashville about 6 months ago. The company started in Atlanta, and we have a few account executives still down there that really work our referral partners there. Accountants, insurance agents, IT companies.
Yep.
Our current customer base is honestly our best salesman.
Got you.
They're, anyone they really refer to us, typically they're moving forward with working with Lifelong.
Yeah.
So mainly it is through relationships and just our referral partners. But I also have, people who are out in the streets knocking doors, making cold calls. And building relationships that way. But at the end of the day, everything comes back.
Do cold calls still work, man?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Some people say cold calling doesn't work.
It's an approach. I mean, there's a lot of different approaches, but certainly if you make the dials,
Yeah, numbers don't lie, right?
Exactly.
Law of large numbers. So let's talk about the specifics of the service, because at the end of the day, I don't think most people may not even know how this works, but if you visit a business, especially like a retail spot or a restaurant, and you swipe your credit card to pay for those goods or services, the merchant has to pay a small percentage back to what, the credit card company? Or
exactly. So traditionally, merchant, you swipe your credit card as the customer. That merchant is paying 3 to 4% to accept that credit card. At the end of the day, someone's got to pay for those reward points, those flight miles, things like that. And most of the time, it's coming out of that merchant, or traditionally, it's becoming out of that merchant's pocket.
So just to make it clear, like if we walk into a restaurant, the bill's $100. I swipe my card, 3%, $3. The merchant is actually just receiving $97 roughly, right?
Exactly.
Instead of the whole $100.
Exactly.
So for a restaurant to be doing $100,000 a month or $500,000 a month with heavy traffic and all that stuff, 3% starts to add up. You're talking about $15,000 a month or so on, just in fees going back to the credit card processor.
Exactly. Like, at $100,000 a month, you processing that much, you're paying $15,000 a year in $36,000 a year in credit card processing fees. So they can be pretty substantial there. One thing that we kind of specialize in, and one reason I started Lifelong, was we help merchants eliminate those fees. We do traditional processing, and a lot of times we can beat whatever fee a merchant may previously have. But a lot of times we're putting our merchants on cash discount programs.
Okay, so stop before you get into this, because we talked about this before. So this is pretty unique approach, but I don't want people to miss what you said. You're helping your merchants eliminate the fee.
Eliminate the credit card processing.
Eliminate the credit card processing fee.
Out of their pocket.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So listen up. So explain how you do that.
Yeah. So there's so I'm going to use the term cash discount. I'm also going to use the term dual pricing. It's kind of interchangeable here. But basically these cash discount or dual pricing programs, they have a price for using cash and a price for using card. For this example, we'll say a check is $10. There would be a $10 cash price. And then if the merchant or the customer decided to use card, it would be $10.40.
Okay.
These programs put the cost of processing onto the customer, which thus saves the merchants thousands and thousands a year.
Yeah.
A lot of people may say, well, I don't want to, I'm worried that my customer is going to have an adverse reaction to that. And, at the end of the day, people are going to find fault with anything. There's going to be one or two complaints about any change you make. But what I find is 99 out of 100 customers don't even notice, nor do care.
And this cash discount, by the way, that's what you're calling it, right? The
cash discount or dual pricing.
So this cash discount approach can be integrated into the POS system or the software, right?
Exactly.
So it's not like you're doing this manually.
No, yes. So not only do we specialize in eliminating the fees, but we specialize in putting custom technology and POS solutions in place for merchants. So all the systems that we implement are going to have this dual pricing or cash discount feature. So it's not only eliminating those fees, but we're also going to integrate a custom piece of technology within your business that, will help with the payments, but it also may help with loyalty and marketing and inventory, and getting you paid faster if it's an invoice system, things like that.
Yeah. No, that's key. So a customer comes out, they're in a retail shop, right? They get their product, they come up to checkout, and then the merchant rings them up, says, hey, you're doing cash, card. So if you're doing card, what do? Press a button and a price pops up. They're doing cash. Because most people are not paying cash anyway.
Exactly. So truly, this isn't going to change anyone's buying behavior. The consumer's buying behavior isn't going to change. They're still going to use about the same amount of cash as they were going to use before.
Yeah. Nobody's going to the ATM because
don't think that's going to change. I mean, have you ever went to a gas station and went to another one because it was cheaper at the other one and they were, charging you a fee for using card? No. Everyone's going to continue to use their card. So with a dual pricing model, yes, it will display a cash price and then a card price, and the customer can choose, hey, I want pay with cash, I want to pay with card. With more of the cash discount model, and that's really just the way we set it up, is the pricing is built in. So the credit card processing price is built into the pricing. So let's say something's 10 again, we're going to put it within the system at 10.40. And if they use cash, it's automatically going to discount that 40 cents back down to $10. Okay. So it's really however the merchant wants to set it up and wants it to look for the customer. Do you want them to see two different prices, or do you just want them to see a discount for using cash? It's really just optics.
So with most of your customers, are you setting them up on this dual pricing model?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'd say about 95% of my customers are electing to do a dual price or cash discount.
Because ultimately they're eliminating the fee, right? Because if somebody's paying with a card, then they're paying the fee.
Exactly.
So how is this different though than, because I've gone to places, like I just got my tags renewed too. And even at the window, they were saying, hey, if you pay with a card, we're going to charge you an extra 3.25% or something like that. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I'm paying that credit card processing fee, so they don't have to absorb that. So, but that's not what you're doing, right?
So what you're describing is a surcharge. Government's been doing it for a while. Government agencies, gas stations, that's a surcharge, right? And really, they're accomplishing the same thing, right? You're eliminating your fees. It's just the optics as well as compliance. Okay. For instance, on a surcharge, you're technically not allowed to surcharge a debit card, right? Okay. So the business is technically supposed to absorb the fee on a credit card, and that's rules from like Visa and I'm sorry, on a debit card.
Because a debit card isn't charged a fee though, right?
It's just smaller than a credit card.
Got you.
Right. So if that government agency, which of course they have different rules, but if that was a regular business and they were applying that fee to a debit card, that would technically be non-compliant. Versus a cash discount and a dual pricing model, those are compliant because one, both prices are being published and shown there in the dual pricing model, versus with the cash discount model, you're seeing the card price and then there's just a discount if they use cash.
Got you.
So at the end of the day, it's just how it looks to the customer. Yeah. And it's really comes down, they accomplish the same thing. It just comes down to becoming compliant with Visa and MasterCard. Okay. Because you don't want to get on the bad side of those guys and then you be blacklisted and you not be able to accept cards under that LLC or that business anymore. Yeah. I've seen it happen too many times.
Are businesses able to make money off of the fee? Like if they're being charged 3%, can they charge 5%?
No. Okay. So that's a big compliance thing.
Gotcha.
Is not only doing it via that cash discount or dual pricing model, but as well with that charging exactly what you're being charged and not overcharging. A merchant is not supposed to profit from one of these programs. And once again, those aren't my rules or the processor's rules. Those come from Visa, MasterCard, those guys.
Yeah. Is that part of PCI compliance? Or is PCI compliance different?
PCI compliance is different.
Okay.
That's more on the security side.
Oh, gotcha.
Making sure all the data is secure and things like that. But that's super important as well.
Okay. And so let's talk about how in terms of the relationship between maybe MitechPartners and Lifelong, because a lot of these machines or systems run on internet, right?
Exactly.
So what have you seen out there that's been kind of a challenge for small to medium businesses, especially retail or restaurant, hospitality space, as it relates to, the internet? Like if the internet shuts down, they can't run cards, right?
Some systems will.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of hitting to that. Going back, a challenge I see a lot of times is businesses from the beginning not running the proper, Cat6 wiring.
Sure.
Or, not having the proper internet speeds, for the system. If they're going to run a wireless, based on Wi-Fi, you need really fast internet.
Yeah.
And you also need internet, that's reaching your entire establishment, at least to the point of sale.
Yeah.
A lot of times you have your router and modem in the back room and your POS out in the front, and it wasn't properly planned for. So that's the biggest thing, and I think that's, where you guys definitely come in is on that internet side, making sure they have the proper speeds, and through y'all's partners, making sure the proper cabling and IT is applied.
But would you recommend running systems on Wi-Fi or hardwired?
Always hardwired.
Okay.
There's just always less problems.
Yeah.
Right? I can implement a machine that's hardwired and I'll never get a call on it.
Gotcha.
It's me checking in with the customer versus a wireless one. 9 times out of 10, it'll work great, but it's that 1 out of 10 customer that's having those network issues that you just want to eliminate.
Yeah.
So always hardwired, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Most point of sales these days can do Wi-Fi or hardwired. But my recommendation is always hardwired. And then going back to what you also asked in regards to running cards. So some systems can run cards offline. And we work with a ton of different point of sales, a ton of different solutions. So it really just depends on what system can. But some can run cards offline.
So they can run cards offline and authorize the card?
That the risk is that card may decline.
Okay.
And you
don't know
are out
until
that money.
Okay,
exactly.
gotcha.
So, a food truck that's out there and can't get service and they're just running the cards, they may come back and find, one was declined. But a lot of times, you can put things on the router, cellular backup that will allow you to still operate if you have, a day or 6 hours without internet.
No, what's crazy is I was, this was a couple of years ago, but I went to this was actually before COVID, but I was at the mall and went to the Gap and they said they could not take cards because their internet was down.
Yeah.
At the Gap. And I was like, the Gap? Like,
out of all places.
Yeah, shouldn't they have like a backup or whatever? So, because we usually tell clients if they're running like voice over IP, for their phone system, their service is over the internet. If the internet goes down, your phones are out. But if you have a backup, whatever. So, but it's super key because I bet you the Gap lost a lot of money that day. Because they just couldn't take cards, and not even having the equipment that could run the card without internet was crazy to me. They were just telling people we can't take your card.
A lot of times I put, especially if it's like a mom and pop place location with the owners there every day.
Yeah.
I'll give them the redundancy too of an app on their phone.
Oh yeah.
They can accept cards because
absolutely
it can be devastating if a business is down for an hour without cards.
Yeah.
No one carries cash anymore. Very few.
Yeah.
I'm one of the few that does. But at the end of the day, if you're without accepting cards for an hour, 2, 3 hours, you could, be losing thousands and thousands.
So let's talk about that too then, because that's very comparable to like a voice over IP phone system. If the internet goes down, hey, you got a mobile app, right? So you can jump on your cell, use that app. So there's an app for your services too, where people can still run cards, authorize the card, and all that good stuff.
Certainly, yeah. There's definitely a software that we can, use in addition. Your POS system may not have an app, right? But I have a solution that's an app that's like $5 a month.
Oh, gotcha.
That can just be a piece of redundant
so you don't miss
software.
that money.
Exactly. A lot of like my car wash guys, my pressure wash guys who are out on the road all the time accepting payments, they use that.
Yeah.
But then my retail locations or restaurants will also have it just on their phone. just in case something happens. Because at the end of the day, as you know, it's technology. Things happen all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just how, you respond to it, I guess.
So one of the things I like about like what you guys do is you represent multiple, vendors, right? Mm-hmm. So when you engage a potential client, I mean, since you've been doing this, for a while, I mean, you pretty much know kind of where you're going to place them based on the business, based on the size of the business, what they're looking to do. But are you always giving a customer options as well? So that like what's your approach when you engage a customer?
Yes. So like you said, I've been doing this a while. So I vetted a ton of softwares, a ton of POS systems in advance. Do I have ones that I of course think are going to be the best fit for you or for a client? For sure. Normally I probably have at least 3, sometimes only 2, but at least 3 options for each vertical, whether it be small retail, counter service restaurant, full service restaurant, online, whatever it may be. There's normally at least 3 different solutions, and then I'll present those to the customer, allow them to make the educated decision based on price, features, because at the end of the day, no merchant's the same. There's no reason to fit, a square in a circular hole.
Yeah.
And I want to find a solution that's going to keep this merchant happy for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, if they don't like it after a few years, the great thing is we can always pivot and switch. It's not like working with a company that does both the processing and the POS all in one. Mm-hmm. Because, those things are tied together. Yeah. You can't switch. With us, we handle the processing, but we also are partnered with tons of softwares and POSs that we can integrate and tie in with.
Yeah. No, that's key, man. I love it. So tell us about a quick case study or success story of a customer that you worked with. Maybe you went in, you saved them a ton of money, or maybe you helped somebody, transition from a carrier or a vendor that wasn't helping them out. Tell us from point A to point B, where you took one of your customers.
Yeah, for sure. So we have clients all over the nation. One I'm specifically thinking of is a small retail store out of Dallas, Texas. Mm-hmm. They've been working with us for about a year now. Before coming to us, they were working with one of the big names out there, one of the POS and processing companies in one. They were having huge issues with customer service, as well as their money was being held. They came to us looking for a new POS solution because of those issues.
Now, hold on. Let me ask you something. Yeah. Why would somebody's money be held?
Because some of these POS and processing companies that are combined, they don't go through an underwriting process, right? So you can go buy a card reader at the store and start using it without truly going through an underwriting process. So if they see maybe a large transaction or something that they see weird, they just are going to shut you down or hold your money immediately because they haven't done that proper vetting, right? You can't come to me and I have you up and running in 5 minutes. I can maybe have you up and running that same day or next day. Yeah. But we have to go through an application process and approval. Gotcha. So that's why there. But yeah, going back, so money held, was having terrible customer service, couldn't get anyone on the phone. Came to us, was doing about $150,000 a month in credit card processing, paying about $5,000 a month, so $50,000 or $60,000 a year. Today, we've given him a new point of sale. He actually has 2 locations with us now, so he has a new point of sale that he loves. No money's being held, nor has ever been held. He's always had next day funding. And in total, he has now gone on one of these cash discount programs and we're saving him $60,000 a year just on one store. The second store opened 3 months ago. It'll probably be similar once that business builds up to that point. Yeah. But, in total, very soon we'll be saving him about $100,000 a year that he can just reinvest in the company, right, or put into his pocket, or, do whatever he'd like, give employees bonuses. But at the end of the day, that money's, in his business rather than being thrown away on that credit card processing.
Yeah, because a lot of times, man, businesses are looking they're looking for funding, or they're looking for access to funds to invest in their business, and it's actually right. You got the money, you just need to have the right vendors show you how to do certain things to keep most of that money, right?
Oh, definitely.
So no, that's key, man. I love it. And that's huge. 60,000 a year, man, with 2 locations, close to 100. Wow. That's huge.
Right now, I mean, inflation's up. It's going on across the board.
Yeah.
So your customers since COVID are used to seeing little fees or little adjustments in costs. So it's, before COVID, these programs were less popular. But COVID has definitely expedited these to make them more popular and not seen as a burden on the customer.
Yeah. So man, you made it up to Nashville. You moved to Nashville from Georgia and from Atlanta. And I'm assuming your goal is to grow your clientele up here in Middle Tennessee. And but how you liking Nashville though?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm 26. I spent 25 years in Atlanta. So it's been good to be somewhere new and fresh, a lot less traffic. I know to some people here, it may seem like there's a lot of traffic, but
not Atlanta traffic.
Yeah, certainly not. But it's been great. It's got a great feel here. I'm over in Germantown. Love the walkability of it.
Yeah.
And just the general vibe of Nashville. So really getting into the swing of things.
No, that's cool, man. A lot of times, I don't think I hear about a lot of people moving from Atlanta to Nashville. It's like from Nashville to Atlanta. But I think the fact that Nashville's growing like crazy, although Atlanta is too, it's a different culture and it's smaller, man. So, somebody with your business acumen, you could come up here and blow it out of water. By the way, we met at a networking event. And
exactly.
I mean, I always tell people how important networking is and really to be intentional about networking. And I remember the meeting where I met you, I actually came late. And after the meeting, you came and introduced yourself and told me what you did. And I was like, oh, there's a connection there because of, the services you provide. We're talking to the same customers, So it's really key. And now you're on the podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
So,
real quick.
I mean, it's super, super important to do that, man. So I appreciate you doing that. How can people get in touch with you? Like if they want to engage, get a quote, get some information about your company and services.
For sure. So you can, our website is llmerchantservices.com. You can also send me an email at Kermit at llmerchantservices.com. And then our phone number is 678-477-6704. I still got to get that Nashville phone number. That's coming soon.
Oh, it's all good. We got free long distance right here.
There we
you know
go,
what I'm saying?
there we go.
So guys, if you are interested in getting a quote or just getting information about merchant services, reach out to Lifelong Merchant Services, llmerchantservices.com, right?
llmerchantservices.com. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yep.
definitely. And make that happen. And, or you can reach out to MitechPartners too, and we can connect you, to make sure you get the information you need. Hey guys, we appreciate you for tuning in. Hopefully this was valuable information. And, I definitely got some takeaways so that I'll be able to share with customers and hopefully get them on the right plan. If you're not following us on social media, make sure you do that, especially on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and especially if you're not watching this episode on YouTube. But you can also follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all that good stuff as well. And stay tuned to details about our Q3 event. Every quarter we do a speaker series event. So we're going to have a stellar entrepreneur come in, talk free food, wine, beer, cheese, all that good stuff. And just have a good time of networking with business professionals. So keep your ear to the street about the dates for that. And hey, man, appreciate you coming in again.
Always great.
Yes, sir. Look forward to doing business with you.
For sure.
And I got to give a shout out. Can't forget our sponsors. So Comcast Business, Spectrum VoIP, and Air Call. We appreciate you guys big time for sponsoring the podcast and the MitechPartners events. Hey, guys, if you need to reach out to Mitech, you know how to do it. Go to MitechPartners.com. Real simple. MitechPartners.com. Appreciate y'all. Holla.
Can't stop till I won't stop till I can't stop till I won't stop till I can't stop till I won't stop till I ain't no Chico, just be smooth.